What is it? What do you smell? Man flesh.
Welcome to one of my ESO build videos. Like each, I'll be going over the gear, skills, CP, food I'm using, playstyle, and then showing some footage at the end.
You got a problem with that, nigga?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to my newest Nightblade creation. Now, this is one that I just created a little while ago, and I'm really liking so far. And so let's go ahead and just jump into the build. Now, I'm using Valkynscoria, of course, because it's really good on Mag Nightblade. And then I am using Heavy Armor, Clever Alchemist. Now, the reason I'm using Clever Alchemist is because with Heavy Armor, you actually lose a little bit of damage. So that's kind of a problem, so I decided to go with Clever Alchemist. A lot of Nightblades nowadays are going to Heavy Armor, and I've seen a couple that are using Clever Alchemist and Heavy Armor, so I figured I'd give it a try. That's not completely original to the build, but what is original is I decided instead of making up for some of the other light armor passives, I wanted to make up for the Magicka. So the second set that I'm using is the Lich Set. Now, what's good about the Lich Set is even though we're running a relatively low Magicka pool, we have insane sustain paired with some of our abilities and stuff like that. So I'm using all impen on my Clever Alchemist pieces. I'm using 5 heavy armor, 2 light armor, so I do get some of the light armor passives. So on the Lich Waist, I'm using impen as well. And I'm using Lich Jewelry. Now, this shit was a bitch to try and farm. I could not get the necklace for the life of me, but I finally got it. A bunch of my guildies were helping me, so shout out to you guys. Thank you for helping me farm this and getting it all set up and everything. So we're using the Lich Flame Staff sharpened. The reason I'm using the Lich on the Flame Staff is because it's the easiest to get instead of trying to get the Resto Staff. It's a little bit harder and takes more time. And then we're using Clever Alchemist for the Resto Staff. So you're going to be proccing Clever Alchemist on your back bar, and you're going to be proccing Lich on your front bar. It doesn't really matter. You can go with the other way around. Either way, you're going to be switching to each of the other one to proc these sets anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now, let's go into the stats real quick. My stats are 34k max Magicka. That's going to go up a little bit, but for now, it's fine. I've got plenty of sustain. I've not ran out of Magicka once. Not one time. Now, I've got 25k max health, which this is in Cyrodiil as well, just so you know. And then 13k max stamina. Our spell damage looks pretty low, but I'm going to show you what it actually is when you're fighting. You're going to get a lot of it from your heavy armor passives and from your buffs. Crit resist, you want to get it as close to 2k as possible. Mag recovery is only 11k, but once Lich procs, it goes way up. And also you have siphoning attacks on your bar, so that helps a lot as well. As you can see, our resistances are relatively high because we are wearing a heavy armor. I'm Vampire, using the Thief Mundus Stone. Alright, is there anything that I missed on the armor? Impen, Clever Alchemist, Valkynscoria, and Lich. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the skills. Alright, for the skills on my front bar, I'm using Swallow Soul. The reason I'm using this over Funnel Health is because I'm an asshole and I care more about my own health than I do my allies. They can heal themselves. No, but seriously though, I'm running solo most of the time, so I use Swallow Soul over Funnel Health right now. I used to use Funnel Health more, but for now I like the extra increased healing, and that's because we're using a lot of heals over time and heavy armor, so the increased healing helps quite a bit. We're using Massive Hysteria, best CC in the game, overpowered as fuck. Merciless Resolve, that's going to be your main burst. You're going to want to line up all of your burst with this ability. Then we're using Crippling Grasp, very good. Dot, Major Expedition, all that good shit. And then Impale. Now, the reason I'm using Impale, I don't generally use this on my Magicka Nightblade builds, but I have an issue finishing people off if I don't use it, just because I am wearing the heavy armor, don't have a lot of spell pen. So when I do burst them, I want to be able to finish them off, and it's a at range execute. So another huge part of our burst is going to be soul assault. This is just single target, so if you're fighting, groups of people, you might want to switch this over to the Destro alt instead, and use that. But I like using soul assault for, like 1v2s, 1v3s, stuff like that, inside of IC. If you're out in Cyrodiil, then use the Destro alt probably. Alright, and the back bar. Using Refreshing Path, very good heal over time. It crits for about 1.5 to 2k, so if you're critting pretty consistently, then it heals you quite a bit more than you'd think. Siphoning attacks, pretty much bread and butter for Nightblade. I've not seen many Nightblades not using this because it's so good. Healing Ward, your oh shit heal, most of the time you don't need to use it, so that's a good thing because it's going to conserve a lot of your magicka. Instead of Cloak, I'm now using Elusive Mist. With Cloak, it's just really started to piss me off. I love using Cloak before, but now it's getting to the point where I'm getting pulled out of stealth by absolutely everything, and it's just not useful. It's not as useful using heavy armor as it is with light armor, and it's just not useful as it used to be in general. So I switched to using Elusive Mist so I can reposition myself a little bit better. Then we're using Degeneration. I've never liked Structured Entropy. I don't care that much about the extra health on my back bar because I don't like it being like that anyway. It's kind of weird. I'd rather have the extra healing from my light and heavy attacks every now and then. So Degeneration. And then I'm using Soul Tether as my back bar ultimate. That's kind of my AoE stun, CC, and deal damage and give healing and all that good shit. The other thing that you can use on your back bar instead is the Resto alt, which I don't have it unlocked just yet. But that's one thing you can use, or you can use the Vampire alt, Devouring Swarm. So those are your choices for your back bar, or you can even switch your front bar to Devouring Swarm if you want more healing. So this particular build uses 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, it uses 4 dots. And then when I'm dueling, what I like to do when I'm dueling is I will switch over Mass Hysteria for Destructive Reach, and then I will switch over Elusive Mist for Cloak in duels. You can also switch over this for something else if you want in duels. I'm not sure what else I would really want there, but I'm sure there's something that I could use. But the reason I switch out Flame Reach for Mass Hysteria is because generally, unless I'm fighting a stamina build, then they're not getting close to me. If I'm fighting like a Sork or something, then I'd rather have the long range CC. So that's just for dueling. Anytime I'm in Cyrodiil, period, I use Mass Hysteria though. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the CP. So I'm running about half of my CP into Magician, 48 into Arcanist, 10 into Tumbling, a bunch into Elemental Expert, and then kind of split between Spell Erosion and Elfborn. I'm not getting a huge amount out of those. And then I'm running 25 into Thermitage. And then I'm running some into Resistant, about a split into Hardy and Elemental Defender, and then 15 into Quick Recovery. Alright, so that's pretty much it for that. Now let's take a look at what food I'm using. Oh, wrong thing. Now the food I'm using right now is Tri-Stat food. I like having the extra stamina, but another one that you could use that I actually ran out of is the Witch Mother's Potent Brew. It's really good for that extra Magicka recovery. When I'm using that, it actually bumps my Magicka recovery up to, I believe, around 1400. So I would recommend using one of those two. Once I get more of the Witch Mothers, I'll probably be using it because I use it on almost all of my Magicka builds now. So what potions do you want to use for proccing Clever Alchemist? I use the Essence of Spell Power. It gives me that much more burst. I'm going to show you guys what my spell damage actually goes up to when I'm actually procced with Clever Alchemist and buffed and everything. I also keep Essence of Detection on me at all times just because of the fact that there's so many gank blades out there. So if I start running into a whole bunch of those, then I just slot these in. Alright, so the reason my spell damage is not as high as my back bar is because I haven't golded my flame staff yet, which I'm working on right now. I just got the Lich Set, or the Lich Set completed a couple days ago, so I'm working on all that. So when I'm fully buffed, I can't use Degeneration, but with Clever Alchemist it goes up to 28.99. So once I use Degeneration and my heavy armor procs are all up, my spell damage can go up to about 32 to 3400. So yeah, when you're wanting to burst, you hit really hard. So don't worry about the spell damage the way it looks unbuffed, because when you are buffed, it goes up to a massive amount. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for the build. Stick around to enjoy the PvP that I've got at the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
What just happened? He makes me sick. What just happened? He makes me sick. What just happened? He makes me sick.
Well, that takes care of that, eh, Patrick?
Done and done. stupid.